Okay. Good. Just waiting. Okay. I was just waiting for YouTube to load to launch. Alrighty. Welcome back to Odys Talks, everyone. Just closed the tab with this the same live stream on YouTube because I started hearing myself in the background. All right, welcome back to Odys Talks, everyone. This is episode 49. One more episode, and it's going to be 50 episodes. My gosh, it's been going for so long. Awesome.
Yeah, you should have saved me for number 50. That would have been kind of cool. But anyway.
I wasn't actually thinking about that. But yeah, so naturally, this show is brought to you by Odys Global, your one-stop shop, one-stop marketplace for age domains and websites, including several additional services, including such as 301 redirects, fully managed hosting, topic clusters, and EAT audit. You can also get domains and websites from us in installments if that's something that you're interested in. So just reach out to our team via the website. They'll sort you out. And today I'm joined by two legends. It's Jared Codling of jaredcodling.com.
And then if anybody goes to that site, it's so basic. But anyway.
And the movie superstar Craig Campbell. When will we get your star on the Walk of Fame in Hollywood, Craig?
You never know. I seen that I had one in Estonia. It wasn't a good one though. I had one shitty little one. That's a start. That's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, awesome. Sadly, unfortunately, Max Geraci couldn't make it because of some health issues. He told it to me last night. So just stay put, stay up to date by following us on social media as well as on YouTube. He will appear in one of the upcoming episodes. I'm your host, Vlad the Lad. So yeah, let's keep it rolling. Guys, why don't you go on and introduce yourselves and just highlight whatever you want about yourselves. Jared, since this is your first time on the show, why don't you go first?
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, Jared Codling. I'm a growth hacker from Australia. So like I do a bit of SEO, but I'm more like holistic marketing where I'm trying to find like opportunities, tactics that are going to work to grow something really, really quickly. And that's all kinds of stuff. Like I did a thing called New Hack every week for like a year, where every single week I had a new hack come out. You'll see that on my website. It's all free now. Yeah, that's me. Like right now, I'm doing a couple of companies. Like one of them selling Ozempic, and another one which is going to get announced soon. But yeah, that's me.
Awesome, Greg.
I hate saying this, but I've been in the industry for 22 years, done everything from being a freelancer, agency owner, affiliate, whatever. I don't know what I call myself now, but do a bit of everything, got my hands in a few different businesses. So yeah, still hanging on in there and trying to do my best. That's all I can say.
Amazing. Yeah, all right.
Ladies and
roll.
gentlemen, we are live.
That's a must. Yeah, as you could see, the title of this episode is SEO is not about SEO. And even though a lot of people, I wouldn't say everyone, but a lot of people, a huge fraction of the SEO community is talking about this same thing, that SEO is not about SEO. There's still this huge, let's say, misconception that it's like doing SEO is just great because it's SEO, not because of all the other things that you can do with it and you can apply it to. So as you, Jared, mentioned, you're into growth hacking, and Craig, even though you've been in SEO in the SEO game for over 20 years, you moved on to other things and you've grown your businesses, various parts of your business or businesses. It's still SEO is still in there in whatever you do, right? So what is your, let's say, approach to this statement that SEO is not about SEO?
Yeah, I've got one here where basically, like, I think like a lot of people with SEO, like when they start a site, right? Let's imagine they're doing an e-com site. They normally start with, okay, I'm going to do my keyword research. I'll do a bit of competitor analysis, and then we'll work out, okay, what can I rank for? And the goal is like, okay, how can I get some traffic? Now, like, I can give an example where right now I'm in the Ozempic space, and so the chemical name for Ozempic is semaglutide. So an SEO approach typically would be like, okay, I'm going to look for all the keywords around like semaglutide and Ozempic. The thing is, I know from running paid ads and tracking things properly, and I use like Amplitude, which is like a really good tracking platform for what. That's just awesome, and it's cheap, so it's worth checking out. But basically, I know that Ozempic keywords are worth a hell of a lot more to me than semaglutide keywords, because the people looking for semaglutide, they don't care about brand, but they're trying to get like cheap Indian shit that they can just import. They're not trying to get like the proper brand and get the legit stuff, which I've got. So if I just looked at it from like an SEO standpoint, I'd be going after what can I rank for rather than like what can I make money off. And I think like using paid to kind of do, to work out, okay, before I even go or try to get this traffic, is it even worth anything to me? Is something that like I'm seeing more SEOs do, but it's not common enough. They're just kind of jumping straight to keyword research.
I think I would kind of agree with Jared there. I think utilizing paid is something I do regularly now. I'm an SEO at heart. That was the skill set, but I think there's a lot of mistakes and stuff I've made, and I quite openly tell these people. The white boot story I told in Estonia last year. I've jumped into these and went and done keyword research and just went out. I'm a gung ho going after all the wrong types of keywords and selling all the wrong shit. There's more to doing keyword research though. I think you have to understand the product, the red tape potentially that go behind a business, the returns that potentially can happen. But also the biggest thing where I had many failures, and it wasn't me ranking a website that was the failure, purely from a scalability, processes, business decisions, I was really shit at them all. So although I was good at SEO, I made a hell of a lot of bad decisions and bad choices, which ultimately led to failure within the overall business. So SEO is not just about SEO. Yes, SEO is a revenue or a way to making revenue, but there's a hell of a lot more to it, such as the processes, the systems, the team that you build round about yourself, and even just running a business. You have to learn all of that shit. And there's great businessmen who understand SEO, and they seem to excel better than, in my experience. I do a lot of consultancy and training, and most people come to me for advice, and it's not necessarily on SEO, it's more business related stuff. And you're just like, dude, you're doing really fucking good. You clearly can do SEO, but what the fucking hell is the rest of this stuff? This is a shambles. So I think it's everything round about SEO that people really need to tighten up on, because there's only so far you can go doing SEO yourself, and so much revenue you can make. It's all about scalability and making life-changing sums of money while we can.
Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. It's like, why are you doing it? We're all doing it to make money, right? Like, we're doing it because we want to work for ourselves. That's a big part. Like most SEOs, pretty independent people. But then, like, looking at exit a company, if you're looking for like a saleable asset, the first thing people are going to look at, they're going to go, well, okay, yeah, this is all built 100% on SEO. If SEO dies tomorrow, this business is done. Versus a business that's like, okay, yeah, look, it's 60% SEO, it's 40% paid. You got Facebook, you got Google ads working, and a little bit of TikTok ads. Then it's like, oh shit, this business is worth a lot more, because even if that drops off, this can make up for some of it. I'm not buying something that can tank overnight because of some fucking Google update.
Yeah, people don't think about the exit strategy. And even for me now, like, I've built this stupid brand, Craig Campbell SEO. Who the fuck is ever going to buy that? Do you know what I mean?
It's a pretty common name, though. You can sell it to some other Craig Campbell, right?
Yeah. To the musician, yeah.
Yeah. But I never thought about that stuff when I was starting out. It was just gung-ho. And now you're sitting going, fuck, should I have went after, a brandable domain, but hey, it is what it is. But again, shitty decisions, and but the rest of my businesses, are branded, can be sold on. So I was fortunate that I did realise this mistake very quickly. But yeah, I think you have to think long term. What's the exit strategy? How are you going to get out? What, you know, and as I say, it's all about scalability and growth as well. And don't just focus on SEO traffic. Although I'm an SEO, I think it's very, very risky to just solely rely on one source of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also like the speed of, like, I guess, get that feedback loop, right? You know, you start an SEO strategy, even in a good market where you can rank something pretty quick, you're still talking like a few months. Sometimes you months before you start seeing that come through. Whereas, like, you run a little bit of paid, you can iterate really quickly. You know, you can test different landing page layouts without going, oh shit, wonder if it's going to fuck my rankings up. You can test all this stuff out before you start. While you're doing it, you know, and get some of this stuff right. Because just at that time to get that feedback loop, you just tighten that right up with different traffic sources. Even though SEO is going to be that awesome ROI that's going to pay off, it's like you can set yourself up because you can double your conversion rate by doing some quick testing before you even get to the SEO, before it even kicks in.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Either way, SEO is a great means of, let's say, yeah, SEO done right is a great means of growing whatever it is, a business, brand, I don't know, just a website, an affiliate website, or whatever. Well, affiliate sites are not so much these days, right? But still, like, in principle, let's say. So whenever you guys, let's say, reach out a point of understanding that it's time to scale your business, that the two of your own hands are not enough to do everything yourselves, right? That you got a number of websites, a number of brands, or whatever. You gotta just take care and look after all these, all the stats, all the I don't know, let's say toxic links, and clean them up. Just how do you approach that? Like, how do you look for the right people, let's say, or would you still prefer just an hermit lifestyle and do everything by yourself in your own cozy cabinet? I know.
I mean, you can't do it all yourself. Like, that's the honest answer. I mean, it depends how much money you want to make, right? I mean, I've seen people get, you know, just crack $1 million a year on their own, but then they're also burnt out and going crazy, and they struggle to do it the second year around. You really do need to build the teams, but I try to build automation before I'll build teams. Where it's like, okay, well, can I automate some of this stuff? Because I trust automation more than I trust the worker. But then it's like, you know, having the right hiring process is like, the good thing is, you know, everyone's dream job's to work remote these days. It just depends what that role is. And I try to get creative with it depending on what it is. So for example, like for customer support, I used to hire, so I had this big weight loss company before Ozempic existed. And I used to hire all my support staff were actually like customers of ours who'd lost a bit of weight. They were in the target demographic and they were like stay-at-home mums. And they really wanted to sit on Facebook all day and write back the messages to customers and basically talk all day to people. And it was like, didn't need to pay them that much. They loved their job. They worked crazy hours, but they didn't even see it as work. And it's like just finding those people who are like the right fit for the right job and they're a culture fit and they're actually going to enjoy their job. Like that was one thing where possible you want to get that rather than just getting somebody who's just a mercenary. Missionaries over mercenaries, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Anyone who thinks, like, I can only really agree with Jared again. Anyone who thinks they can do it all themselves is fucking crazy. It's the burnout. I've been there. Jared's probably been there as well. You know, you do burn out, and I think you do have to do a lot of the work up front yourself. But the biggest failure I ever had was not delegating enough, and I was a bit of a control freak, and I think most of us go through that. I'm not giving that to that motherfucker. I don't trust them to do that. The way that big businesses are built is growing teams and systems and making processes for that. Do I want to be doing the heavy lifting? Do a fuck. Do a fuck. I understand SEO very, very well, but am I going to be sitting writing content and doing all that stuff? No chance. Not a chance in the world. I see myself more as a businessman now. And I want to delegate out as much as I possibly can, because the one thing we can't buy back is time. So, obviously getting that work-life balance is really important for me, rather than working 18 hours a day, which I have done. And my wife saying, come on, what are you doing? You're still up at 4 a.m. There's only so long you can sustain that. And again, I think I've spoken about it in the past. It led to stress and anxiety for me. I burnt out and I ended up with anxiety and had to take medication for it because I couldn't switch off. And again, that was my own ego going, I can do it all on my own and I want to keep all of the money for me. But when you start spending money on VAs or whatever it may be, or building a team, it's a cost, but you'll see that your revenue can grow massively. You can do things 10 times faster. And I think you just need to go over that kind of selfish mindset that I had, where all the money's mine and I just want it all to go in my back pocket. That's just never going to lead. It's going to lead to a heart attack more than anything.
I mean, the first time you do it, where you go, okay, I gave this task to someone, I went to sleep, I woke up and it was done. It's pretty fucking amazing feeling too. It's pretty easy to get addicted to that. And like the thing is, like for us guys who we do hustle when we start out, you do everything yourself. It feels like fuck, I'm doing something wrong if I'm not working hard. It's like something must be going wrong, or I mustn't be getting anywhere. But it's like I held off on delegation. I still struggle with it, with delegation. But I think like dividing people into two categories as well, like those roles into two categories. One is like people who have to have initiative, and you don't need many of those people, because I want to be the thinker, the planner, the ones being creative about the business decisions. Then you have the others, which are like worker drones, where they just literally give them a standard operating procedure and make sure they stick to it. Give them KPIs and they either hit it or they don't. Make their job super straightforward, super quantifiable, and like they're like a cog in the set of gears where you can just pull them out and put a new one in. Thinking of the role like that, I think, is super important. And I think about coders that way now, where I don't want to have to I want to give them a full specification of this is what we need, this is what it's got to do, rather than going, oh yeah, it kind of needs to do this, work it out as you go, because they're going to fuck it up when you leave it like that. You just got to lay it all out.
Yeah. Jared, do you growth hack your teammates?
Depends what you mean. I've had a few that I thought were growth hacks and are terrible ideas. Well, one of them was I used to I read this book, the 1 Minute Manager, which is really good because it's got this concept where when somebody comes to you with a problem, you basically ask them like, oh well, what would you do? And you put it back on them, and most of the time they actually know the answer and then they can go do it themselves. Mm-hmm. So then I was like, I took that one step further. I was like, well, what if I just wasn't around all day and I started working at night and all my staff were working during the day and they'd have to work it out themselves? That was a fucking disaster. So I wouldn't recommend that. But one thing I do, I hire a fair bit of Upwork, which it's a skill. It's a skill worth learning. But if you just hire someone off Upwork and you don't plan properly, it's going to be a disaster. But I've got little tricks, like in the middle of the job description, I'll say, make sure you say the word honey badger in the subject line to make sure you attention to detail. Just doing that, you'll get rid of like 80% of applicants who never read the whole fucking job ad. They can't comprehend it. So there's these little growth hacks in hiring that I like to do, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, the good old Upwork days. Yeah, I've had a fair share of applications like that. I mean, I remember the job description saying this pretty much like similar things. Just make sure to mention this or that in your cover letter,
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'm pretty brutal on that. And you kind of it makes you get a little bit brutal, and I'll be like in the job ad, and I'll tell them as I hire them, I'll say, if you're 1 minute late, I'm not paying you a dime. And they'll hit the deadline. And if you don't do that, they will not hit the deadline. But it's a pretty diverse marketplace on there. There's a lot of really skilled people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Even one of our mentors, Kyle Claver, he's top 1% SEO on Upwork, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, there's quite a few great people. Yeah, Craig. What about you? What about your employee and potential teammate selection process? How do you approach that?
I don't personally do it. I've got someone who does it for me. Again,
Greg
delegate.
Elfrink, right?
You've got to delegate what you don't like doing, and I think over the years I've interviewed many people, and it's like pulling teeth. It's just a long, tedious fucking process, and 98% of the people are fucking idiots. And they apply for jobs that they're not qualified to do and stuff like that. So I've got other people who do that process for me, and then they would bring the right candidate to me at the final piece of the interview stage. I'm just not going to do the looking through CVs and doing the initial first interview. I've got people who do that part for me. We hire. We've got a small team in Glasgow. I used to have a much bigger team. I don't think hiring locally is good value for money. Certainly not in the UK. So we've got like middle management in Glasgow who manage a lot of the projects, but then the rest of the stuff is all kind of overseas workers. We've got content writers in South Africa because they've got great English speaking skills. It's a much lower cost of living. And then obviously you've got Filipinos, Indians, you've got Serbians doing development or whatever. We know where the skills lie. You're never going to give, and no offense to any Indians because some of them are really good, but you're not going to give an Indian person with kind of fairly basic English skills your content writing. Why would you? But they're great at a lot of other things, and so I think it's just picking the right people to do that. But they're all kind of managed by middle management. I don't want nothing to do with that stuff. Again, that's going back towards the heart attack material, just fucking super stressful. So I've got someone again to manage those people. I just start shouting and screaming when things are not done at the middle management, and then that gets pushed down the chain. So that's how we do it.
Yeah, and just on the location thing, not saying that I've done this because this would be highly unethical and illegal, but if you hire people in Russia right now because of the sanctions, they're really cheap. I've heard, and you just pay them in crypto. That's something I've heard.
That's a hint for someone out there.
That's a growth hack if I've ever heard one.
Yeah, that's a growth hack for sure. While you were speaking, guys, I actually was trying to think of something, let's say, viable and valuable in today's let's say online business environment, and not just online. But yeah, since you guys are not just doing SEO but doing business as it is, what is the biggest challenge for you these days in building and establishing a brand and then evolving it to something bigger?
I mean, I took a stab in the dark with my most recent brand, and I found that it like I just got it way fucking wrong. The colors, the styling, all of that. The feedback was this doesn't look trustworthy, and all this. Huh. And then I literally just went and picked a brand that was hitting the same demographic, but in a different industry. So we're doing Ozempic, and what I did, one of my really close friends, his wife's got a business that just got a full rebrand in like Botox, which is it's like the same demographic. It's the same kind of thing. It's we've got to have trust. It's a cosmetic kind of thing, and literally just taking that brand colors and all that rather than just taking a fucking random gas in the dark and getting like a proper brand. It's like doubled our conversion rate. And we actually look trustworthy now, and everybody I show it to is like, oh wow, this is actually really good. Whereas before I was like, I thought I did a pretty good job, but I definitely didn't. But I'm humble enough to go, as soon as I start seeing in the comment section of my Facebook ads, this doesn't look trustworthy, I'm like, you know what, I got to do something about that.
For me, I am my own personal brand, and I think recently we tried to put someone else in front of the link building business I've got, my business partner in that business, but my face obviously converts better, gets better click through. Sorry, Graham. But but again, you've always got to try different things, and I don't want to be the face of every brand that I build. That becomes tiresome, and again, you want to try and take yourself out of the business rather than build yourself into it. But again, you've got to leverage what's going good for you. So again, I've just launched a whole bunch of videos for the paid ads and everything else, and trying to slowly build up that brand, and include myself in it. You've got to leverage what you've got. And I think for me, building a brand, even a personal brand, it's hard. It takes time. You've got to build trust. You've got to build authority, regardless of whether you're selling Ozempic or you're building, a personal brand like me. You've got to build trust and everything else, and that doesn't just come with the colours of your website. Of course, that will come into play, and I'm not disputing, CRO and everything else. I'm a big fan of it all and can increase conversions, but I do think also out with that, you've got to establish a real brand, whether that be doing PR, whether that's having a face of the brand. It might be slightly different for Ozempic and stuff like that.
No, it's much the same. Like we got a lift just from putting like our team page and putting real people on there. And I think people don't value that enough. Putting an actual phone number on a website makes a big lift. People just go, yeah, this is a real business.
It's just establishing that you're a real person, and I think even Ozempic is something that I personally take because I've got diabetes. I've recently got diagnosed with that, and I'm on Ozempic. But when you look around doing research on Ozempic, you don't know what's fucking trustworthy and what's not, what some bullshitters not wrote from an SEO perspective. So I think I would argue that even more so, in your niche, that trust is fucking vital, because I'm scared. I've got diabetes. I want to know what the medications do, what it is, and all that kind of stuff. And it's really important for me to do bigger research on it. So I would probably argue even more so for you, Jared. You really need to establish real people on there. Is what I would like to see, and having a look at a lot of the UK websites is, there wasn't real people on it. It was just like fucking dodgy online pharmacies. Then you start coming across articles saying there's fake Ozempic out there. Make sure you're buying the real one and all of this.
Yeah, you don't want the compounded stuff. You want the real stuff. Yeah, 100%. I mean, we literally were like, we asked our doctors and we're like, can we put your face on there with your credentials? We want to put our pharmacists on there with the credentials. It was this stuff that made a bit, it wasn't just the color. It was definitely, how can we be more trusted, and just looking at that holistically. And I think that's that's an SEO thing as well too. Google's looking for that shit. They're trying to tie that back. This is a real person. That name, we've seen them before on LinkedIn. That's a real doctor. Like I'm sure they've got the technology to be pulling that together properly for the EAT.
Yeah. Speaking of Google, how much of a turbulent time it is for you guys post the latest Google update and after the algorithm leak?
I got fucking wrecked by HCU on a test site I was doing. Basically, I was doing like a big programmatic test, and it was in like the pet niche, and it was doing like a 10,000 page site that was dripping out. It was starting to get traction. It was on an expired domain, starting to get traction, but we were about a week old when HCU hit. No, about 2 weeks old, and it was and basically it just de-indexed a shitload of. We're exactly who they were looking for too. We were the expired domain, the programmatic low quality content, and we just got slapped into oblivion, and it hasn't come back, which is not surprising.
But mine's have been fairly stable, to be honest. I've not seen too much, but again, I don't fully rely on SEO anyway. I do a lot of paid, a lot of social, a lot of YouTube to drive in a lot of business. So I've not really seen anything crazy, but I've always been cautious of, doing any of the kind of AI stuff or anything like that. So there's probably no real reason to give me a slap. I've always been on the fence with AI. I've never sat there and said, do this, do that. And yes, I've seen test websites tank. I do like playing with stuff. So yeah, I've seen that kind of stuff tank. But, you know, on my own personal projects, there is a lot of paid stuff going on and stuff like that as well, which I think helps overall just to keep things moving.
Well, I definitely think it was like a very much one big adjustment, because I have seen the stuff that got slapped. I've seen similar stuff go live by some friends who are running some tests right now where they're doing the same shit they were doing before HCU, and it's working. I mean, it's just asking to get hit again later, but I mean, it is back working.
Yeah, but what do you guys think of the algo leak?
I think for me, there was a lot of stuff in there that I believe is a lot of shite.
Interesting.
I think there was a lot of stuff in there that we already knew. That's, you know, worked for years. You know, my biggest questions to that is, why was it leaked? Was it deliberately leaked? Is it there to throw people off the scent? What was the purpose of it? You know, it's I've just got a horrible feeling that was deliberately leaked. In all honesty, and you know, you drop a bomb like that, and the whole of the SEO world's all fighting about it, and obviously it's always that 50-50, right? Where, you know, you've got one side saying one thing and the other side all fighting against it, and that's what Google want. You know, they definitely want that to be out there, and it gives them a bit more time to sort their shit out, essentially, because people are scared of certain things or whatever's in that leak. So I didn't really take too much from the leak. I would say it's a deliberate leak. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying it 100% is, but yeah, it is what it is.
I mean, I compare it to like the Yandex leak. Like it's similar, where it's like you see this list of factors and you go, yeah, most of this we already knew it. There's some new stuff in there, but then like, I mean, I only test what you like whatever gets tested, and I see people actually doing like proper case studies where they go, yeah, the Google link said this, so we tested it. I'm gonna believe that, rather than like the Google link said this, so it's gospel. Like, I just, yeah, how much each of these factors actually play into the algorithm. It's a hell of a complex algorithm with so many layers and parts to it. Like some of this stuff people are gonna overblow the importance of it for sure.
Yeah.
Last week during the last episode, one of the guests, one of the participants was Charles Float, and he was really confident that the leak was real. That he confirmed it through some of his channels and the people he believes are legit. So that's interesting. I mean, I haven't yet heard this point of view, like that this is a conspiracy to throw SEOs off the table, you know. But that's really interesting. But yeah, at the same time, pretty much everyone says that this leak has confirmed whatever most of the things that they were doing either way, and thought that these things were working this way, not the other, you know. Do you think that the corporation, the big G, will like introduce any drastic changes to its algorithm? I don't know, some overplace some of its standards or whatever, just to confuse whoever is trying to manipulate the search engine, the rankings?
I mean, that's what they've been doing for fucking years anyway.
I mean, there's an element of randomness already built in, right? Isn't that in one of the patents that like they, just so you can't be reverse engineered properly, there's an element of randomness.
It's one of those things. They change the weight on certain things a lot of the time anyway. So although one thing might work heavily, you know, the weightage to each of the elements is always going to change as well, and they're going to tweak that just to fucking throw people off. So, you know, if Jared, for example, is leaning heavily on CTR, for example, and that's given him the boost that he needs to get to where he is, all they need to do is turn the weightage down in that and turn the weightage up in something else, and shit balances out. And I think that's always been the case anyway with the big G, if you want to call it that. And they're always looking for ways to throw you off the scent. All I really think is you've got to tick as many boxes as you possibly can. Doing great on page, doing great, going back over and re-optimizing and stuff like that, and making sure that everything is up to the standards that are expected of now. Because again, you can have a page that's been ranking for 2 years, and a lot of people will often ignore it, but you've got to go back and tweak that and refine it and bring it up to today's standards as well. And I think it's obviously a massive job to do that, and obviously trying to keep on top of all these kind of changes, but that is the goal to do. And too many people do rely on the one or two tactics that they employ. And I do things that probably don't get that much weight at all, but it's part of the process. People say, Craig, what the fuck are you doing that part for? And you're like, it might mean something someday, so it might get more weight one day or whatever. So that's kind of my thought process behind it.
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. I think it's important as well to look at like what are Google's challenges right now. And I think one of the big ones is they've got so much AI content getting pushed out that their crawl budgets are going to get tighter. And I think it's going to, if you want to work out like what direction they're going in, like, and this is just my assumptions and what I'm trying to build for, is you've got to make your site easier to crawl, make your site, like, load times are like finally going to start to matter more. Having an easily crawlable and digestible site are going to matter more and more. And then backlinks are going to matter more and more, because there's just going to be so much, like, the internet's just getting filled with shit because of AI. And I think Google's going to get a trickier time distinguishing. So like the jump from like GPT 3.5 to 4 was huge. When GPT 5 comes out, I don't think they're going to be able to detect AI anymore. Like I think it's just, it would be too computationally expensive for them to detect it at that point. And I think then they're going to have to rely on other ways to work out, well, what should we even be crawling? What should we be indexing? And I think backlinks are going to matter more than ever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I keep thinking that it's a very, very interesting cat and mouse game between Google as a corporation, as an entity, and SEOs as a community, as a crowd, as, I don't know, let's say search engine manipulators.
I mean, they don't care about us, man. Like, if they could get rid of us and replace it with blue links, with ads for the top 10, they would. They'd do it tomorrow, and they'd say, "Fuck you, SEOs." Like, they don't.
They don't
care about us.
But the thing is that the one that the one drives the other, like and then the other drives the former, right? The latter drives the former. It's always like that, like they roll out something, you guys, the CEOs, are figuring this out, they're trying to advance, this eventually gets figured out as well, and this goes on and on and on and on. But yeah, and there's also, like, as far as I understand, their biggest source of revenue is ads, right? And
by a mile.
Yeah, and like, considering that like so many SEOs are doing Google ads, I mean, why would they want to get rid of you guys, right? because they get a fair share of money off of you, right?
Yeah, I mean, part of it depends on what niche you're in. I guess. Like, I mean, I can see them pushing Google Shopping more and more for those kind of things. Like I think everybody who's in everybody doing information-based sites where Google it's going to be able to just answer it with SGE or whatever, like those zero-click results. I think that they're going to have a really bad time in the coming years. Yeah, I think Google's going to change a lot in the coming years, but it's not going to happen overnight. Like this, everybody's been saying for years this is going to happen. Like, it's, you look at the percentage of people who are even using GPT. It's like a very small percentage of the population, and us who are in the space, like we're using these tools every day. But like, that's because we're in the space. Mm-hmm. The average user using Google, like they can only change it so fast.
True.
Makes
Craig,
sense.
do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I don't even know what the question was again. What was the initial question?
That wasn't necessarily a question. There was like a reflection on the
I
state
mean,
of things.
what niches do you think are going to go like well and go bad in the next like 3 to 4 years, Craig?
For me, I think Google's algorithm or Google are kinder to certain niches like the gambling niche. They get away with fucking murder. They get away with a lot more. Now, are Google really going to fucking clamp down on those guys? They spend too much money for them to do it. Like you asked the initial question, Vlad, that, about what's Google's biggest revenue stream. Are they going to kill someone who's paying them 20 million a year on paid ads? Are they? Fuck, they're not. This is Google's a business model, and they need to try and keep everyone happy. And unfortunately, I do think certain niches seem to get an easier ride, so to speak. Spam is still accepted in certain niches, and even in certain countries. I look at US and the UK where the algorithms are quite aggressive, and you look at other ones in Europe, and black shit spam still works, and you're just like, for fuck's sake. So the algorithms are not the same for everyone, and certainly not in every niche. And I think Google will flush out what they want to, but I just don't think they can flush out people who are paying big money, because if you kill a lot of those gambling guys off, what percentage of Google's revenue is that going to kill off? I mean, it's a big chunk. There's probably hundreds of millions of pounds being spent monthly on stuff like that for a lot of these by a lot of these companies combined. And is Google going to turn that revenue down? Are they? Fuck. They're not. So they have to get a happy medium. They can't just kill us off. That is the bottom line. They've just got to do what they deem as fair whilst the revenue's still coming in. And I think, as I say, the big ticket niches are always and always have got away with absolute murder. And it's always the small guys that get slapped around, and, the affiliates and stuff like that. The guys that are at the bottom of the ladder are the ones that get kicked in the teeth the hardest. And you see it even when it comes down to affiliate. Amazon used affiliates until they got to as big as they were, and then just cut the commission. They don't need you now. Fuck off. Go get something else. So, I think that's the kind of attitude of Google as well. Just they don't need those bottom feeders, trying to fuck around. And sadly, I think for the community, a lot of them are bottom feeders. Trying to
Well, yeah, like if you're running like affiliate review sites, like you are skimming off the name that's getting the volume.
Yeah,
those are the guys that get kicked around a bit, I think.
Damn. Well, to be fair, there are really, really great affiliate guys who know what they do, and they go for high ticket items, and they really crush it, and they haven't been affected by the HCU really, because I don't know how they do it. I just know stories, let's say, from those people, right? What would your let's say perfect recipe for surviving in the affiliate game be today?
I mean, I see guys that like were doing Amazon stuff, and if they were in the right niche, they've been able to transition into e-com, or at least get deals somewhere. Especially if they've got like high ticket e-com affiliate stuff where they were sending over to Amazon, and Amazon just destroyed that overnight. Like that was brutal what Amazon did. And it's not like the gaming space where it's like, okay, I'm referring to this casino, you cut your commission, cool, I'll go refer to this other casino. It's not like that with Amazon, But the guys who've been able to transition that I know have done pretty well, where they're able to go cut some deal, where they're able to keep selling product in the same space and keep those kind of similar numbers. Some of them I've even seen switch to like drop shipping, which is a bitch of a game. I've done that a bit in the past. It's a nightmare managing China, but there's money there.
I think what you said is perfect. A lot of guys switching from Amazon to e-com, you know, you're going out and then building yourself a real fucking business and a real website. And I think that's the key. You know, when we look at it in the past, those shitty little Amazon websites, they weren't a real business. They were shitty little websites. There's nothing real about them, didn't have social media or fuck all. And I think the key to surviving in any of this is to build a real business, whether that be e-com, drop shipping, whatever. Obviously, you've got different problems with different business models, but I do think fundamentally you have to build a real business with a real brand, with real social presence, the authority signals, and the trust signals that come into play. And again, that goes back to having real people and stuff like that. Your website, doing better link building. It's not a game of jackass now where you just buy up some old expired domain, roll out a website, and in comes a fucking lot of money. You know, that can't be that easy anymore. Google were always going to fucking stop that from happening. And it was great while it lasted. You know, it was just a numbers game, just smashing out content after content after content, and you got away with it for years. But obviously Amazon get fed up of it, and like AI content, Google were sick and tired of all these shitty, worthless pieces of shit websites.
Yeah, these 3-page sites. Yeah.
You know, they don't fucking really add value to the internet. So I think that's where the barrier to entry into making money online has got a little bit harder, and you are going to have to spend a bit more money, whether that be on your PR, whether that be yourself, you know, putting yourself out there and building up authority and trust. You know, the guys that are winning have all of that kind of stuff ticked off. They you know, they're absolutely crushing it. Google don't crush real businesses. They don't. You know, it's those websites that are spun out with AI and thousands of it, or crappy little websites that we all knew are never going to survive long term. You know, people have been doing, you know, real businesses for many, many years. A lot of these guys haven't been slapped in the way that you know, some of these other guys have been slapped. So these guys were always fucking knew you were going to get a slap, and it came. And what else did they expect? So I just think that if you want to enter the space, you're going to have to dig a bit deeper. It's not quite as easy as it once was, and that's always been the case for SEO. Even when I started in the early 2000s, buying an exact match domain name and throwing a one-page website up guaranteed you page one, position one. That's no longer the case. There's a lot more to it. So, you know, the barrier to entry has always increased, and we've just got to, as people evolve, and sadly, a lot of us in the SEO space, myself included, are lazy bastards, and they don't want to build a brand. You know, you want it all to be automated, or you want to steal it from someone, or whatever that might be. You don't want to fucking sit here on YouTube talking shit and building up your brand or whatever it might be. So, you know, people don't want to do that, but, you know, they're quite happy to sit there and expect to make money. That doesn't work that way. So you've just got to put a bit of effort in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100%. I think that like experience part of EEAT is going to get bigger and bigger. Where, like, for example, if you've got a review site and you actually go and review the products, you physically buy them, you actually have your own photos of you using them. And I mean, it's a better user experience at the end of the day. Like, I know if I'm buying something, I can see like, okay, this review site has genuinely used these products versus the ones who they just look at the photo and they spin up some AI content and that, like, that shit's going to get slapped. Yeah, some people get hit in the crossfire. I met a guy at SEO Estonia that, like, had a review site where they were actually reviewing shit properly, and they got smacked in the HCU. There's going to be a little bit of, you know, people hit in the crossfire, but I think largely, if you look at like what Google wants, that is what they want. They want real, like, you know, real product reviews, real content, you know, real user value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which, as a black hat guy, I hate. And I go, how can I get around that and do it the easy way? But
yeah, I'm the same. I like cheating. I love to cheat and win, but got to be realistic.
100%.
Yeah. What about YouTube? I mean, it's I think it's one of the, let's say, one of the ways to spin out of the diminishing loophole of, let's say, affiliate marketing, for example. Since we started talking about affiliate marketing, right, in terms of SEO, and just moving out to YouTube and monetizing those vids, just doing good vids. A lot of people are doing faceless stuff and things like that, but yeah, for example, Craig, you've had your channel for forever, and it's huge, right? You're doing a great job. So you obviously consider YouTube as a means of, I don't know, maybe growing your personal brand, which ultimately drives you some leads that convert into sales eventually, right? So how big a piece of your like total revenue pie is YouTube for you?
Um, it's hard to say. I mean, it's a sizable chunk. Let's put it that way. You know,
Yeah, I'm not asking for any particular figures, you know.
a lot of people say, how much do you make from your YouTube? Like, the AdSense is fucking dog shit, right? It's dog shit. There's no point in trying to pretend otherwise. You know, you could literally buy yourself a dinner every month and that's it. You know, it's nothing great. You know, but I've worked with, and I'm not going to call you Odys, ODYS. That's my branding for your company. Obviously, worked with you guys for a number of
You
years.
fucked it up for us for years. For years to come.
But working with people like yourself, you know, who was my channel sponsor for I think 2 years, and on top of that, you know, I get a lot of offers to promote SaaS products and everything else. So there's a lot of money to be made through sponsorship deals, collaborations, whatever you want to call it. People want in front of that audience, and they'll pay you know, a decent amount of money for it. So yeah, you can make a lot of money, and it's not AdSense driven. But of course, you know, when you're out there offering value to the community and trying to help people, leads will come from that as well. People will buy from my links company, whatever it may be, and obviously it drives revenue to other things that I talk about as well. You know, although I make money from Odys, having previously sponsored it, Odys made money from me as well, driving people to them.
That's a two-way street.
It's a two-way street. So there's money to be made through YouTube. You know, Odys made X, I made Y, whatever that would be. I'm not going to sit here and talk about figures, but yeah, it is what it is. And you know, sometimes, or a lot of the time, I'm giving free information away, saying, you know, I'll use CTR Booster, for example, for click-through rate manipulation. I'm not an affiliate of CTR Booster. People go from YouTube and just go to fucking buy CTR Booster. Garrett's making money from it. So, you know, everyone's making money from your YouTube, but obviously it's more important for me to be making money. I've never worked out the exact percentage, but, you know, there's a reason why I continue to do YouTube. I do get sick and tired of hearing my own voice. But when it's making money, why fucking not? You know, like at the end of the day, Jared's selling Ozempic because it makes him fucking money. If I need to sit here and talk shit and you know, talk about my experiences or whatever to make money, then I'll fucking do it. You know, it is what it is, and I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy meeting people, and you know, I've had a lot of good things as well. People come back saying, you know, your video helped me, and you know, this, that, and the next thing. So you're ticking a lot of boxes with YouTube, not only just helping your peers, but obviously making money and helping other businesses like Odys grow as well, you know, putting them in the map, and obviously I went on to have other sponsors and putting these guys in the map. It's quite a rewarding thing to be able to do as well.
Mm.
Yeah, 100%. The other side of it is the other side of YouTube as well is you know, a lot of people use it as a search engine, as a research tool, and you know, it can. You look at it like if you like I was part of a crypto exchange in Japan. I owned part of that until the regulators came a real bitch. But one of our strategies, basically, we would hire like we couldn't advertise in Japan for regulatory reasons, but what we could do was basically get influencers to talk about us on YouTube. But there was two kinds of influencers. The first one was the people who we want their reach, we want their audience. So these are people who their addressable audience is very much in line with our brand. That's great if you've got a product and you can go find those people. They're going to be more expensive than the other ones who you go, they're not as big, but they make really high quality content. And if I get them, they're going to be really cheap. But what I'm really looking for is if somebody looks for my brand, either on YouTube or even on Google, I'm going to then have those video results show up. Now I can get like a really positive review of my brand. It's really authentic looking. And that's a really powerful way to use it, where you just get these micro influencers that are just really good content creators and get that out there on YouTube.
Yeah, it works well, man. It works well.
Yeah, and it stays there forever, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it'll just keep just growing and growing and growing over time. Yeah, well, guys, this was a great conversation. Just a lot of thoughts, a lot of ideas, a lot of insights. Thanks for sharing that. Thanks for joining this episode, which is not 50. Sorry for that. It's gonna be the next one. Yeah, guys. Where can people find you online, and are you attending any events for the rest of the year where they could meet you?
I'm speaking at Chiang Mai in November. If you don't have a ticket yet, good fucking luck getting one.
True.
But you can find me at jaredcodling.com. You can just email me, or I got a heap of content there if you want to learn some growth hacks.
Awesome.
For me, just search for Craig Campbell SEO, YouTube, or go to my website, social media. You'll be able to find me there. I'm speaking at IGB next month. I think I'm speaking in the Philippines in September. I won't be at Chiang Mai this year because I absolutely killed it on stage last year, but they don't like to have the same person back twice in a row.
That's my favorite talk, actually. You gave my favorite talk at Chiang Mai.
So, and I haven't got a fucking ticket for it, but I'm likely to come out and chill out out there. It's always a great atmosphere. So I'm not doing as many talks this year. I think I've got 2 or 3 left. This year I'll have done about 6 in total, which is massively reduced on the ones that I'd done last year. So just taking a little bit of a break from it. All the traveling was not, it was fun, but it wasn't fun. So having a more chilled year, but I will be in Chiang Mai as well.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll catch up for a drink.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel to not miss out on new episodes and whatever things we're gonna be rolling out. Yeah, 4 fresh interviews straight from Tallinn are coming up soon. Yeah, see you here next week with yet more legends on the show.
One more thing.
Sure.
Guys, if you want to check out ODYS, check out odys.cc.
Yeah, please do that.
That's my affiliate link. That's my affiliate link, by the way. Still got to get more money out of these fuckers.
Right, guys. Once again, thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. All right. Yeah. Talk soon. See you around.
Cheers.